Now this is interesting because last time I came here there was absolutely no signs, and somebody has been out and put up some very nice signs. Can't get much clearer than that. Excellent, well done. Yeah, that looks fairly fresh too, because the staples that they attached it to the post with are not even rusty yet. I was mistaken just now. The hill that I'm going up is actually the one that's right in front of me now, around the corner. That one over there is the back way to Hunchback Hills. I've been up that one. That one's steep and rough. Yeah, this is where Deer Ridge, these peaks in front of us here, literally straight in the centre of the shot, goes up and over, and you can see the second peak there. Yeah, that other one going up at Hunchback Hills, let me tell you, that runs right up and along the ridge. That's quite the trek. So look at that, somebody has been out with the signs. Well done. Right. I've no end of people ask me where Eagle Hill is and Eagle Ridge and all that, and there's two ways you can go. Actually, you can go from here to Eagle, or you can just drive down the road a little bit further and you can park up there. Much easier route to get up there. It's about 5 kilometres shorter too. I'm not sure why people go all that way around, but they do. Yeah, the lake is empty. There is actually a lake in here, but give you a little bit of the history of this area. Many years ago, obviously this was a hunting ground, and all down through here, obviously the deer and what have you would all collect down in this valley, and there's another valley just the other side. They'd all collect in the flat grassy areas, and all the people hunting them could very easily hide up here in the trees. Now, whether they were aspen at that time or whether they were conifer forest, I'm not sure, but a lot of aspen up there. It'd be very easy to hide up in there and over there. So all you've got to do is scare what you're after, get it moving, get a bit of panic, and hey presto, lunch. Yeah. So this area has actually been an important hunting area for a very long time for the native peoples of the area. Right, so I'm going up there. The object of today's exercise is to see if there's any deadfall that needs clearing out, but hopefully it shouldn't be too much, and I'll probably end up coming back along that bottom of that ridge or over the top of this one to my right here. So right, on I go, heading across that way. Right, a little bit more. This piece in front of me, actually when the spring runoffs come, that actually fills up with water very quickly, makes a very nice pond. That hill centre shot there, I'll end up coming around the bottom of that hill on the way back. You can cut across it, but it's a bit rough up in there. Eagle Hill's off up that way, and coming around here, look at that, sunrise o'clock. Excellent, got a bit of glow on the clouds. The camera makes it actually look lighter than it is, because it's actually still reasonably dark-ish. And it's nice and quiet. I like this time of day, very peaceful. Clouds nice colour, eh? And before I head off into the forest here, this tends to get a bit icier up through here, so I will make sure I have my both hands free. So I will put the camera down when I'm heading up through there. This is actually a really nice little walk. I don't know why more people don't do this one. It's not a difficult walk, it's actually quite pleasant. It's really nice in the summer because this is all full of water over here. The only thing is, obviously you get the mosquitoes. That's the only thing. Yeah, well, my first customer for trail clearing. Right about now, I'm really wishing I had my other saw with me, because it would make very light work of this. However, I do have this one with me, which is a remarkable tool. I mean, don't get me wrong, this thing cuts like crazy, but not as easy as my other one. I'm seriously tempted to go back and get it. Ah, dear. Dave. I wonder how much more of this there is up through there. I can see some more down through that way. Oh well, no, I forgot it for a reason. I'm a great believer there's a reason for everything, so whatever the reason was, I don't know, but yeah, okay, I'll do it with this saw. Right, there's that piece cut out of it, and all the brush off the top. Now this is a prime example And maybe the reason that I forgot my big saw, because with my big saw I'd have cut that second tree out of there. That second tree is only about a foot through, maybe not even, and these ones are much smaller. These are only like hand-sized trees. This one, however, is sprung. If you look at it, it bows right up in the middle, and then down on that end there's a lot of tension in this tree. So maybe that's the reason that I forgot my big saw. I have a saying: know your limit, stay within it. That tree there has the ability to inflict a lot of injuries very quickly. So moving right along. Save that for people with chainsaws. So if you can cut them quick, it's not too bad. Now, there's a couple of little ones coming up here. Again, there's another big one. This one up here, this is a dangerous tree because it's only sitting up, held up in a few of those branches. So if you're ever out in the forest and you're doing this stuff, make sure you don't spend too much time stood under probably a 3,000 pound tree. Never a good idea. That shit will kill you real fast. Right, so what I will do is get out from under there. I will clear out the top on this little one, and there's a couple more tops down there I can see. That big one there I'm not going to touch, but this one here I will clear out. Just get that out of the way, just makes it a bit easier. Right, let's get that done. Right, time to get these out of the way. There's a couple there that I'm not going to touch, and this little one here I can get out of the way as well. Right, let's get those done. Right, done and dusted. Holy crap. I put my coat on today thinking, oh, it's going to be around 0. Good idea to have a coat on. But let me tell you, you start cutting up some trees, warms you up. Maybe I should have bought the bigger saw. That one was heavy. That's a heavy log, that one. Right, let's put my gear back on. We can see another bunch of brush down there, so there's no point in putting my saw away. Yes, I was saying earlier, that tree up there, the one that's split, there's a small one underneath it that looks like it'd be real easy to get out of there, and it would. I could cut that one real easy, but that big tree is leaning right on it, so it could, if I cut that, that could well slide downhill. Last thing I want. So always know your limit, stay within it, never do too much. Yeah, leave the big stuff for the guy with a chainsaw, because that one was heavy enough. That's a heavy log. Yeah, so I can see some more brush tops down here. Brush tops and the smaller stuff. With this saw, this time of the year, probably anything that's up to, I don't know, 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever, is not too bad. But my bigger saw, the Katana Boy, can cope with much larger material. Oh dear. Whew. Yeah, I didn't have to travel far to find the next one. And here is the next one. Right, quick survey. Nothing up. Always look to see what the tree is also holding up, because the tree fell down, but it could also be holding something else up. So when you cut it, you'll be surprised how quickly that can come back at you. So this one actually, that's probably a 1,000 pound log, and it's literally right across a path. I would have to cut that one in the middle and try and drag it this way. Since there's only me here, I think I will pass on that one and continue on my way. Right, now if you're coming up Deer Ridge, you would have come up that way. At the top of the hill, you'll see another one of these useless signs. There's absolutely no information on it whatsoever. It's completely on the wrong scale. It's on a scale for the entire area. It covers everything to the bottom of Barrier Lake and halfway down to Peter Lockheed Park. However, it doesn't tell you where you need to go here. So if you're doing Deer Ridge, come up the trail. If you were heading over to Dawson, you can head down that way. Now you want to turn off here. If you're doing Deer Ridge, turn off here on the tree. You will see a no horses sign, and a little bit further up I've just put a bit of flagging in the tree just to make it a bit obvious. But to leave no trace, people, I'm sure they'll have something to say about that. There's a little bit of flagging in the tree there because this time of the year trail's not particularly obvious. Right, so I'm going to continue heading up. Looks like I've got some glorious sunshine coming up. That's rather nice. Now I've put my saws and that away because so far I can't see any more. I'm sure in a minute when there's a steeper section coming up in a minute. I'm sure there might be some big trees in that steep section, but again, if they're too big, I'm not going to tackle them. Yeah. A lovely sunshine, look. Oh, isn't it? Right. Back into the trees. Oh, I spoke too soon. One small aspen. I think I can cope with that one. Right. Yes. Let me just whip the end of that one off of there, and I'll get back at it in a second. Right. Done and dusted. Make sure I left nothing behind. That looks good. Yeah, oh, it's fairly easy. I think I see another couple up here, so I'll keep the saw out just for a second. That's the trouble, you can come through somewhere like this now, clear out all the trees, and you come back once it's all defrosted and what have you, up through here, and you'll find a whole bunch more. Looks like I've got two across the trail up here. They look fairly substantial. Now one thing you've got to watch with these aspens and stuff is, damn, that is heavy wood, especially this time of year, because it's a lot of moisture in there. It's all frozen, eh? And, you look at it and you think, oh yeah, that log I just moved out of there probably weighed more than that pine one. You always have to be thinking safety first. So these look easy, don't they? Yeah, you look at that and you think, oh, that's not much. But I tell you now, that is one very heavy log. Not one I really want to be wearing. So, again, know your limit, stay within it. Same with this one. Somebody's already broke a couple of branches out of that one. We will say thank you to whoever did that. And I will continue on my way up. Yeah. Right, let's just make a note of where those are. If I wasn't up here on my own and I had my bigger saw, I'd cut them out of there. However, yeah, since it's very early o'clock and there's probably not going to be anybody else up through this way for some time, if at all today. It's not an overly busy trail. Oh. Onwards and upwards. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but it doesn't matter where you go in the mountains, it's always up. Other than on the way back, then it's good, because that's the time of the day that you're really tired, so it's nice to have the down at the end of the day. Right, I'll put this camera away for a bit and on I go. One advantage of getting up there a bit, you start to get a bit more of a view out across the valley. That's another good reason for coming this time of year. You come up here in the spring. Yeah, I know, Mr. Squirrel, I'm nowhere near your tree now. Yeah, the coming up at this time of the year, at least you can see stuff. Just heard a noise off to my right. It sounded like another squirrel. Just checking. Relentless up. Mountain should come with escalators, you know. As you get older, your brain still says, hey, you know what, I can still do this in an hour. But your legs and arms For whatever reason, they don't seem to agree. Oh, right. This looks like a good spot just to have a rest. Yes. Always do a little bit. If I get on really steep slopes, I do what I call a 25 stop. I'll go 25 paces, stop and have a little rest. 25, stop and have a rest, and so on, so on. And the rest only has to be like 10-15 seconds, like that. And that's enough just to let you catch your breath. The problem is I'm also walking up here on sheet ice. This is extremely icy. Fortunately, I have my spikes on. So we're getting a bit of a better view out across there now. It's going to be a nice day, eh? The road is across that grass plain at the bottom there. That was another hunting ground back in the days. And the road that goes across there at the moment, that's the top of Powder Face Trail, which goes off down through the mountains. And that mountain down through the trees over there, that's Moose Mountain. All up along this side over here, you're into Cox Hill and all that kind of stuff, Jumping Pound if you go further down. Behind this tree here is the top end, I guess, of Hunchback Hills. That's some very nice hiking up through there, but a lot of bushwhacking. There's only one part of that trail that actually has proper trail. The rest of it's pretty darn rough. So, ooh, that's a bit slippery. And there was me debating on whether to bring my spikes or not. I can tell you now, we're getting closer to the top, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the forest has changed. Yeah. This is more upper level forest. This is my kind of forest. I like this kind of forest. Yeah. It's clear enough to see through. See if I can get a better view of moose there. Right down through the trees there, straight in the middle of the camera. That's moose. Yeah. Now the other side of that mountain today is a mountain called Prairie, and I guarantee you Prairie Mountain will be full of people. Always is. Spectacular views from up there. Great place to go for a sunrise. But you think this piece of trail is steep, you should try that first part of that trail. It's nothing but up for most of the way up the mountain. Steep up too. Oh, quite a lot of blow down up the top here actually. I'm almost at the top of this part of the ridge. There's a whole bunch of trees down in there. Clearly see which way the wind was coming. Yeah. Just cleared these two out of here. Just cut the small ones. Get those off the trail. There is actually a nice view out that way, but you can't actually see it much because the tree cover's pretty good. It is actually quite nice out there. Right, onwards and up the trail. Yeah, it's very clear to see which way the wind was blowing, eh? Yeah. Where did that one snap out of? That one fell out the top of one of these trees here somewhere. Not sure where that came from. As long as the rest of it's not on its way down, that's good. Right. This time of the year, yeah, the sun's nice, eh? There's the shadow people, I see you. This side of the hills always tend to be good. Now I have my thick winter boots on, and you might be thinking, why the hell is he doing that? Well, this side of the hill can be dry, basically. Dry and sunny, not much snow on the ground. But the other side, on the north side, can still be thick snow and ice, because the sun hasn't got to it yet, hasn't melted much. Believe it or not, I'm absolutely roasting at the moment, but it's only around zero. When it's been minus 20, minus 30, zero actually feels quite warm, and I'm hot. That's the other reason I'm taking it slow. Last thing you want to do is get hot and sweaty coming out in the cold weather, because that will chill you real fast, and you don't want to be chilled. no matter how nice a day it is, always make sure you've got enough gear with you. I've got ponchos with me and food and all kinds of crap. So although it's only a 7-kilometre loop, if you got stuck up the top of this hill for some reason and nobody else came up here for the day, now you got a problem. Especially if you fall over and break something. Right, I'm heading up that way. Looks like there's another couple there that might need to come out. Now, I don't normally like cutting leaning trees like that, but it was very rot, not much holding it up, and right across the trail. So now it is down. I'll just cut the ends off those two as well, just get them out of the way, stuff them over there. Not a very big tree, however, see, they're very big. It's probably around about 4 or 5 inches across, something like that. However, if it falls on you, it still hurts. So yeah, I think I should have left my coat in the car. However, like I said just now, you never know. You get stuck somewhere, you'd be thinking, I wish I had my coat. Right, let's pick up my garbage. Oh. Right, on I go. There's one here. Looks like somebody already cut the end off this one. So I don't like to do that. Somebody cut it right in the middle, like that. It's right in the middle of the trail. So this is where the trail should be, right here. What they've done is they've cut through it. There's the piece. They've just kind of cut through it and left it hanging over. So what I will do is I will cut off another chunk in there, about another 5 or 6 feet. We've got a bit of a mess here behind me. What do we got? Ooh, look at that lot. Yeah, that's not good. That's chainsaw territory, that is. In actual fact, if, yeah, I need to get somebody up here with a chainsaw. Yeah. This bit's a bit of a mess. Last time I came up through, it actually wasn't bad. I haven't been up here for a good few years. Yeah, look. Not sure what A7 means. Somebody decided to write it on the tree for some reason. No idea. But yeah, it's just a bit of a mess. Right, let's see if there's any more Dave-sized trees, because the trail actually goes straight through there, through this mess. Now that's an overhanging tree, so I can't really cut that, because it'll be overhanging off my top of my head. Oh yeah, this is a bit of a mess. Right, I'm going to put the camera down and see if I can find a much better way through here. Well, just to give you some idea of the scope of the trees down in here. Yeah, I've just climbed across probably 15-20 trees, and big trees too, just to get to this side of the trail. The other side's over there. There's a whole schwack of trees through here. Like I say, there's about 15-20 trees down through here, none of which are safe for me to cut on my own, so I'm not going to cut any of them. But the trail's that way. There's a few branches I can clear off. That's kind of helpful. These trees I like. These are nursery trees. These are the trees you find full of insects. Absolutely full of them. Yeah. That over there is hunchback. And that's also hunchback through the other way there. Once I get up the top of the ridge, I'll give you a good panorama around and you'll be able to see what's what. It's very nice in the forest. However, the that mess is not only unsafe for me to cut, it's also about a day's work for me on my own with a big saw. It'll take me a day to clear that lot. Well, it's still a bit early in the year. You'd be surprised how much water there is in the logs, and they're frozen, eh? So it actually takes twice as much effort to cut through the logs now as it will in the middle of spring and like when summer comes, because all the water and that's in the logs is frozen. It makes it harder to cut. So, right, I've just trimmed up a few bits, so I'm going to pick up my tools and continue heading up the hill. Right, that's my next little bit to cut out. That is actually the trail, believe it or not. So I can certainly take care of that. The trail's the other side of there, so I can take care of this one. That's not too much of a problem. And I'll stop to have a rest, because it's a very nice spot. Look at it. Yeah. Now this is why I come to places like this. People say, why do you struggle up these hills? Well, A, because I still can. Day will come when I can't. That up there, by the way, at the top there's one lonesome tree that I can see at the top, and a little patch of snow by it. That is actually my next stopping spot, is up there. Yeah, this is the first ridge, and then the second ridge is that one up there. The road you can see down through there is one of the back logging roads, and down through here, absolutely lovely. You can't odds it. Look at this. Moose Mountain through the trees. Cox Hill, that's that one over there with the snow, and it goes along that ridge. That ridge there is actually a very popular mountain biking ridge. Very, very popular. I can see one of my shortcuts that I take through the mountains. Yeah, it looks way different through here. Hey. Okay, yeah. Now when you're on the ground, I can see from up here, I can see why people used to come up high, because I can see something from up here. There's a way that I take, it's a back route that kind of heads from here off out over. If you kept going, I guess it would bring you out the back of Bragg Creek, far side of Moose Mountain. However, when you're on the ground, you can't see where the cut lines are or where they've cut the trees in the past, but from here I can. Yeah, oh, that's good. I just learned something. Yeah, and all the way down through here, very nice, eh? Look at this, lovely. Love this stuff. These old trees are just, I mean, I don't even know how old some of these trees are. These trees could be 40, 50 years old, who knows, maybe older. When they're not on the ground, when they're on the ground, see if I can find one. Right, when they're on the ground, they rot really, really fast like this. Yeah, really fast. You know, within 5-10 years, most of them are just nothing. But these pieces that sit up here, never again, ever, in the history of the universe, will there be another tree exactly like that. It will never exist. Now, if that's not quite something to look at and behold, I don't know what is. Might be dead now, but it provides home to all kinds of insects, and things love to live in these old logs. Yeah, you'd be surprised what overwinters in those logs. Right, so I have actually taken my gear off because, yeah, I'm pretty hot. So I'm going to clear this tree out of the way, because that one's fairly small. That's only about 6 inches round, not even. And so that is my trail. It goes right through there. So stop people stomping across all these logs and what have you. I'll just clear that out of there. Right, let me get that done. And there it was, done. I just counted the rings on this tree, just out of curiosity. I put all the tops and that in there. I like to do that. I like to pile them up. It makes what I call mice piles. All the voles and stuff like that. It's good cover for them. I like to hide. But, yeah, I just counted the rings on this tree, and it's about 35 years old. Not overly big, it's only a reasonable sized tree. However, it's a shame it came over, because those are the trees you need to repopulate the top of the hill here. As you can see, there's quite a few very similar age. That one there is about the same age, I should think. Yeah, at least that piece is done now. Otherwise what happens is, people braid, I can see they've already been doing it. They'll step over these logs. This soil on these slopes is very fragile with all the plants on it. They don't tend to survive too well if you keep stomping on them. You just end up with a big braided mess of trail. So I try to keep it on the trail as much as possible. That minimises the damage to the surrounding bush. However, there we go. Job done. I've had a rest. I looked for some insects. I couldn't actually see any in there. I'm sure there's some in there. I see lots of holes. Yeah. And I'm sure once the bears get up and about, they'll rip all these logs to pieces. So that's part of the process. There's one over there completely chewed up on the ground, and it rapidly turning back into soil and food for the rest of the trees. So, yeah, one thing dies, another thing lives. It's just the way of nature, isn't it, really? Yeah. That hill down the bottom there, I've always wanted to go down to that hill. You can get to it from the road, but it's actually quite a steep hill, and the other side of it is a very steep drop off. But it's one of those hills that I've always wanted to go and sit on. Don't ask me why, no idea, couldn't tell you. It's just that it's in a good spot. It'd be a good spot for photography there up the top of that hill. Not sure how much of a view you would get, however. That peak right through there, you can see right along the skyline there, right along the top of the trees. There's one piece of bushy bit right on top. If you go to the left of there and keep going, that will take you to the top of Hunchback Hills. If you go down the back side of that hill, down in there's a big gully in there. There's actually some remains of an old aeroplane down in there. It's not sure what the story was. I did try it. It wasn't me that found it. It's the Daffrins found it in there on their hikes around the mountains, and I tried to look up some information on it and could actually find nothing about a plane crash up in there, but it's definitely plane debris. There's not much of it, there's just a couple of little bits, but it obviously a plane crashed into that hill. Could be from the war years, because the other side of those mountains over there, there was a POW camp over there, and they used to use this area here for flight training. So it could well be from the war. It looks old, it's not new material at all, it looks old material. However, yeah, that's a very steep valley. That's the other side of that one over there. Right, so I shall have another glug of water. Although it's still winter-ish, you do tend to dehydrate very fast in this weather. And then I'm heading up to the top of that ridge over there where those other trees are. That's the second peak. This one is now done and dusted. Trail is back to where it should be. So I'm a happy camper, and on I go. Shame we lost that tree, because that was a nice sized tree. Oh well, that's nature. Right, on I go. Right, on I go. I have no doubt to my next tree, which I don't suspect will be too far around this way. Being a rebel, I have left my coat undone, like you do. Now everything's in the wrong place. There we go. Yes, I have a system. But, I like to know exactly where everything is all the time. Just make sure left nothing behind. Nothing left behind. There we go. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Like a 6-lane highway cut through the trees. Yeah. Yeah. There's the top of that one. Oh, it's heavy. That piece there, you wouldn't think it'd be that heavy, but it actually is. Yeah. Some of that pine's really heavy. And these are the trees you've got to watch. See, they're all tipping out of the trail here. Always have a look before walking under them. If I can ever go round them, I go round them. Unfortunately, this one, and this one, and this one, I have to go under. I don't like to, but not a lot you can do. Yeah. It's better than chewing up the delicate soils and that up here. I'd rather go around. If that doesn't make the climb up here worthwhile, I don't know what is. I don't know if you can see the creek down the bottom there. There's a creek down the bottom there by the side of the road, and that's all beaver dams all the way up through here, all the way up through this valley. It's all full of beaver dams. Absolutely amazing. You sit and watch those guys work and you're like, yeah, they make me look like a complete and utter amateur cutting trees, I can tell you. And talking of which, more trees. However, due to the nature of those trees and their sizes, those will become stepovers, I think. Save those for the chainsaw people. Need to let somebody know, actually. Get somebody up here with a chainsaw. Clear them out a bit. I've got a feeling the other side of this hill is going to be pretty darn rough. Oh, there's my rock. Will I be? See this rock here? I have sat and had lunch here many times. I'm further up the hill than I thought. And I'll show you why I sit here and have lunch. Because having lunch here, if that is not the best view for a lunch break, I don't know what is. Nice, isn't it? Right, it's a perfect example of what I like to do. Because the trail has started to braid through here. So a new trail was being made through the forest. And it's a perfectly good trail here. It's a hard standing trail here. It's all rock and what have you. So you can't do much damage walking on that. However, the soils are quite fragile that side. So the tree that was across the trail causing the problem, I've cut up and put across where people were crossing. And now, chop knocked all the tops in there, cut all of these off of here, trimmed all those up. Hey presto, job done. That's rather nice down through there. Oh yeah, yes, that looks way better. See, the small stuff's easy to get out the way. My theory is if everybody that walks up and down the trails and that just picks up a little bit of litter, or better still, don't drop any litter in the first place, picks up a little bit of litter or tidies up, or you know, just keeps the trails in good shape, clear up little branches and stuff like this. Takes very little effort to do it. And that little the saw I got, the Silky, the Big Boy 2000, actually takes care of some pretty good sized trees. I do have my Katana Boy in the car, however it's not much use there. It's like having a chainsaw in the car. Yeah, not much use there. So the observant ones amongst you will notice that the cloud's starting to build quite fast, and it can around here, and the cloud over that way has got that fuzzy kind of what's the name look to it, so I'm not sure if I might get some snow later. But, right, another bit of trail done. And bung my coat back on. This is I got this from Northbound Gear. It's one of their little I don't know what they call it, tactical thermal whatever, I don't know. Yeah, it's a very lightweight coat full of millions of pockets. Actually does a really good job, but it's bloody warm, so I've now taken to pretty much carrying it at the moment. Right, I shall continue on my way, which is that way up there. See me pointing, I'm going that way. Right, that'll do. Right, this is an important junction. You can see there's the remains of a horse rail there, I guess, for tying up horses. That takes you up to the top of the second ridge, which is where I'm going in a minute, because it's a very nice view from up there. And that, believe it or not, is the trail back down. So I might have to cut a couple of those. It's kind of a pain. However, I do have to go that way. When you get to here, you can't actually obviously see the trail. There was a cut line that goes down through here, and the trail goes down through those trees over there, and it follows the cut line down the hill. If not, you end up in Spaghettiville down there. So this is the thing. This is like a T-junction. So when I leave, I've got to turn right. But for the moment, I'm going up to the top of the second ridge, which is up this way. So you turn left at the old horse tie-up, and then up around here through this area is why it's worth coming up here, because you be careful actually, because this next bit's a bit rocky and it can be a bit slippery, and there is a cliff. So I'm just adjusting my gear here. Right, so I'm heading up there, but as you can see, it's quite a nice view, but there is a very steep drop off literally right in front of me. So I will put this camera away until I get at the top of the hill, then I'll do some more. Right, so I'm now on top of the hill. That last bit was a bit of a slog. It's pretty rough. I have to be extremely careful here, because there is actually a considerable drop off down there, so I've no wish to be dropping off. But there, as you can see, all the water reflecting down there, that's all the beaver dams and stuff. It just shows you how much water the beavers actually store in the environment, because if that was just a free flowing river, that'd all be gone, you know. Yeah, great, it rains, it snows, and all the water just vanishes, and then there's nothing left for the forest. So in the bottom of the valleys and that, the beavers create all these water reservoirs, and they keep the water in the mountains, and that's crucial. And talking of mountains, I'll show you something in a minute when I get back over there at the top of the hill. That's a nice tree, I like that. You can see the road down the bottom. Yeah, like I say, there is a big drop off here, so don't go wandering off trail on the top of this piece. Won't take you very long to get to the bottom, but it's going to hurt like hell when you get there. Yeah. Now, if I look over through the mountains over that way, unfortunately I can't remember how to zoom on this thing. I know you can. Let's see if I can do it. I know you can zoom, but I can't remember how it's done. Either way, I don't have my glasses on. But straight down through, right in the centre of the shot now, the mountains are starting to disappear. I can see the snow in that, and that's, if you go through there and turn left, that's where the Nakiska ski hills are. So I suspect they're getting some good snow up there. There was a lot of people heading out that way today, and I suspect they'll all be heading out there and getting some good snow in. In actual fact, I think I just saw a snowflake. This cloud is very much light snow cloud. That over there is very much heavier snow cloud. As you can see, it's an absolutely wonderful place. Apologies for the shadow guy. Hi, shadow guy. Yeah, there is another ridge just there, another peak. I haven't been to the top of that one because that's actually extremely difficult to get to. There's actually a lot of trudging to get up to the top of that one, so I'm not going to trudge up there. So I will turn right at the horse thing and head back down. Nature's chairs, eh? Millions of years in the making, and absolutely perfect. In actual fact, is there a more comfortable one? No, not really. So either way, in here I have an orange. This orange has travelled a long way, so somewhat squashed too. So I will turn that around there. Oh. That sun's a bit bright in my eyes. Just going to move the camera around a little touch, because I think that sun's going to get the camera there otherwise. There we go. Right. This part of the video is called Dave and the Orange. Oh, that's a good orange. As always, anything you bring up in the mountains with you, take it home. Don't leave garbage up. People peel an orange and they think, oh, it's organic, I'll just chuck it in the bushes, it'll be fine. No. This orange grew somewhere else in the world, didn't grow here, so take it home with you. Doesn't take much. I'll just chuck that in there. Should have my little pocket knife really, but I've got my bigger knife there, but don't really need that. It's a bit excessive for peeling an orange. I'm keeping a close eye on that snow over there, because that ridge, I can see the ridge disappearing. If that ridge disappears completely, then I'm heading back down. So that means it's coming this way pretty fast. So I can see it, so that's good. As long as I can see the top, I'm not too worried. Oh, it's a shame you can't smell this orange because it's really nice. Now, unfortunately, I'm travelling light today, so I didn't bring my tea. I just put water instead. Right. It's amazing to think, isn't it? This orange grew on a tree somewhere in the world, nowhere near here, because it's not very good orange country around here. Grew somewhere in the world. And now here it is, sat on top of a small mountain in the middle of Alberta, been eaten for lunch. Oh, that is so good. That is a seriously good orange. People do ask me why I do this. And this is why. Look at it. If you listen, nothing, not a thing. Absolutely brilliant. The mountain down through that way, that's Belmore Brown, and that's beginning to get a bit of haze near the top of it as well. The other side of this mountain is Mount Baldy, and I'm willing to bet you if I was on the top of that ridge up there, I wouldn't be able to see much of it. Yeah. Yes. Not going to give up on the day yet. It's a good day to be out in the mountains. Any day out in the mountains is good. I don't care if it's minus 20, minus 30, it's still a good day to be out in the mountains. That was seriously nice. One thing I always tell people, when if you take something out your pack and put it back, always put it back straight away. Do up your pouches, because it's so easy to lose stuff. This should be tea. We'll have to pretend it's tea. There we go, pretend it's tea. But yeah, I didn't really want to carry tea up here as well. Oh, that's good. Yep. People do forget to stay hydrated when they're up in places like this, especially in the winter, because it's very tempting to just say, oh well, you know, it's cold, it's winter, I'm not going to dehydrate, but trust me, you do, and very fast. Right, let's do some more pictures down the valley there. Right, see the cloud coming in over that way, through that gap, and that's Belmore Brown down through there, and you can see the clouds starting to come through that way. I don't think you can actually see. I'm just going to wander over here this bit. I'm just going to wander to this corner because I'm going to fall off this cliff in the first. I do have my spikes on. It's not wise to be wandering along this cliff edge in spikes, however. Yeah, way out in the distance, right on the horizon, I can actually see right out towards Calgary. And I can also see there's a road down through there. I don't know if this camera will pick it out well, but I can see the dust coming off the road. There's some people coming down the road. Yeah. I can also hear the wind. Wind's changed. Can you hear that? That's the sounds you want to listen to in the mountains, because coming up here there was no wind, so I know the wind's just changed. And looking at the way, see, around here we get Chinook cloud, despite what Leonardo DiCaprio or whatever his face is called, it's not a sign of global warming. It's called a Chinook. It's because the mountains are here. The wind blows over the top of the mountains, and as it comes down the other side of the mountains it compresses and gets warm. Yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't bother to educate himself before he started sprouting off. But either way, everybody around here was laughing at him. Yeah, 10,000 years ago, when the ice started to retreat around here, there were still people living here, and the reason they lived here was because of the Chinook winds, and nothing to do with global warming. Right, cloud's lovely, isn't it? But you see where the cloud starts to do that, what we'll end up with is a big break of cloud right along top of the mountains, and it will just clear right out. It'll be like a big band of nothing in it, and then it will get windy as hell. So that's all the air rushing down the other side of the mountains. The good thing is, as it comes down the other side of the mountains, it compresses, and as it compresses it warms up. It's like putting your thumb over the end of a bicycle pump. As you pump it, obviously it gets warm. So the cloud over that way, see the long stringy cloud over there? It's already started to form. See, cloud, gap, cloud. Yeah, that's where the air is rising over the mountains and coming down the other side. And as it does that, it warms up, which is why a lot of people live in this part of the world. It's why Calgary is such a great place to live. Southern Alberta, it's fantastic. It gets a bit windy, but even in the middle of winter, you know, it can be minus 30, and then we do get a rest from the bitter cold. It will suddenly disappear, which is always nice. Right, so I am gonna get all my gear on and start heading down the backside of this mountain, because I can see the haze coming through from over there, and I need to put this camera down going down the steep bit, because I really don't want to fall down. I'd rather walk down. Right, this is the top of Deer Ridge, and away I go. Right, so this is back to the old horse tie-up thing. I found the crossbeam just laying down there in the wood there. Now, this was a bit of a mess through here. There was 3 or 4 across here, but unfortunately where they were laying, it was very hard to see the trail, so this would be an easy one for people to miss. So I decided to cut these out. There's that one there. I don't really like working underneath trees like that. They can snap and literally disintegrate in no time whatsoever, and you don't even hear them coming. You just hear a bang and it's just hit you. Yeah. But that one was, this was very hard wood actually. These were old and dead. This stuff is harder to cut obviously than the fresh wood. Yeah. This one I'd hoped to cut once, unfortunately I had to cut it twice. You know when you're saying to yourself, wish I'd really brought my big saw with me that's in the back of the car that I forgot to carry up the mountain with me. I keep reminding myself of that. Right, either way, those two are out the way. Now that the little one's gone, it's way better. Now you can see the trail. I can't clear all of it, but I can certainly get rid of some of it. Right, now this piece of the trail down here, we're going to go around a couple of corners, and then there's a long straight downhill. This is why I come up the other bit, because coming up this piece is a long uphill, and it's kind of boring because it's an old cut line, but it's better to come round this, what would that be, clockwise. So do the piece across the plain first, and then do this bit last, because this is just a long downhill. Right, on I go. Apologies for my last bit of video. Yes, I forgot there are actually 3 small peaks up here. First one is a small one, then you come up to the one that I just sat on, right on top there, and then when you turn at the, what's it name, there's another uphill which brings you to here. I forgot about this piece of uphill. I was hoping it was all downhill from that point onwards. Sadly not. Right, so it should be, memory correct, downhill from this point onwards. Oh dear. There's been some canines up here. I don't know, there'll be people with their dogs, or there's a lot of coyotes and stuff up around here, so who knows. Marvellous place, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely bloody marvellous. Can't dodge it. And I'm going that way now. Now in theory I should be all downhill now, and I'm going to go down here a little way, and then I'm going to turn right onto the boring cut line. Somebody had a little campsite up in there. There's a remains of a fire up there. Not a great place to start a fire, but who knows why they did. Might have just come up for a picnic or something, who knows. But, always be careful, places like this. In Calgary yesterday there was a massive grass fire. You wouldn't think so this time of the year with all the snow on the ground, but Nose Hill, there was a big grass fire up there yesterday. So it's very dry. People look at this and they think, oh yeah, it's winter, there's loads of snow on the ground, and there's snow here to put a fire out. However, the rest of the brush is really dry. It's dried out over the winter. There's no moisture. The sap hasn't started to rise in the trees yet. So these trees, you look at them and you think, oh yeah, no, it's winter, they ain't going to burn. But trust me, these things will, and they'll burn fast and hot. Yeah, the sap hasn't risen yet. Once the sap's up out the ground, then the fire risk drastically drops. But this time of the year, be very careful. Which is why some of the places I go, I will actually build a big snow pile before I'll actually light a fire, because that way I know I've got a big source of water to put it out. Yeah. Always remember, you have to know how to put a fire out before you light one. Right, now I'm heading downhill that way. Right, the next mess, I can see a couple of small ones here, so I'll have those out the way just to keep the trail true and straight. Right, I just actually passed 4 people heading up the other way, so that's actually pretty cool. It's nice out there through the distance. That's very nice. Right, let's get these ones out the way, then I can carry on. Well, now that section was a bit of a challenge. This one's very resinous. Yeah, make good firewood, that tree. It's 6 on a bloody row down through here. Literally, I just cut one and thought, oh good, that's it. And there's a whole bunch more. This stuff is old and hard. Yeah, it took a bit of cutting these. Yeah, this is hard wood. You wouldn't think it would be that hard to cut through, but it is. The only trouble with this aspeny stuff, somebody had cut this one and just basically cut it in half. Didn't bother cutting that piece off. So not sure why they cut that. They cut this piece and left the other bit. So either way, it's cut now. It's out of the way, it's off the trail. The trail's very evident, so you can't miss it. Makes it much better. I'm trying to climb across that bloody lot. It's not that. Way easier now. Alright. Let's have a look. I don't think I couldn't see any more when I just had a quick butcher's. Let's see. I think we're good now. Head down through here. It was nice when you're getting onto the clearer bit of forest. This is the other reason why I cleared the trails, because it's one of those things. I don't mind stepping over logs and stuff. It's not really too much of a problem. But a lot of people out and about on the trails, it's pretty hard for them to get over some of these logs. So my plan is, if every time I come out I just move a few. Oh. And I guess these are my next two customers. That one and that one. Oh well. I didn't get very far. I should have left my saw out, I think. Right, the only problem with cutting trees is you always have to cut from the uphill. You can't cut from downhill, because obviously if you cut it, it tends to roll. That one in there looks a bit big, so what I might do is trim all the branches off that one, trim this one out of the way, trim all the branches off that one, and call that it on that one, I think. Let's see once I've cut all the branches off. Now I don't like, I mean, these little pieces, I cut those off. I don't like cutting these insanely heavy trunks like this one. Unfortunately, because of where it is, you don't really have a lot of choice. So I had to cut it. I can tell you now I'm tired. Now all I've got to do is get it off the trail. Two of us could move that fairly easy, I should think. But that piece of wood there, that weighs hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So I am going to have to enroll my ever trusty walking pole. What I do is I use this as a lever and just move it like 3 inches at a time, and hopefully get it off the trail. I'm going to leave the top where it is. That's fine there. Not worried about that. But that piece, that is one seriously heavy log. It snapped off that tree there. You can see where she just literally snapped right off, like 20-30 feet up in the air. But that is heavy. So I will be very careful, and rolled it off there one squish at a time with my little pole thing here. Right, let's get that moving. Now, this is the way back down. This is the cut line, and this is what I was saying to you earlier. You come up the front side and it all looks lovely, and it looks like you can just come up there in your sneakers, but it come down this side, this snow, look at that. I don't know what that's probably, it's probably 18 inches. Probably 18 inches of snow right there. It's the same all the way down through here, all down through this lot. Because this is the north side, it doesn't melt as fast as obviously the other side. So I always prefer to come around this one clockwise, because walking up this piece of trail is kind of, because it's dead straight and nothing but up. Yeah, but at least the other way you have some corners to go around, because they've got the switchbacks on them. Right, I'm going to head down that way. Not too much to clear out on this one so far, only a couple of small pieces, which is good after cutting that lot. Right, I'm going to head down there. If you look here, there are some markers on the trees and stuff, but there's so many deer trails that disappear off through here. I have seen people wandering off down through there, and trust me, you go down through there, it gets a bit marshy, especially in spring and what have you. And the temptation is always to cut straight across the middle of there. This time of the year you'd probably be fine, however, because there's not much water in there. However, you don't know what's under the snow, so always to err on the side of caution. The trail actually goes around this way, and it goes up towards the end, and then cuts back on itself. If you turn left, it'll take you up to Eagle Hill. Looks like most people have probably been cutting across the middle, which I'm not going to do, because being out somewhere like this on your own, maybe you step into a big pile of snow and you find there's 2 foot of water underneath it. Not a very pleasant process, and also one that requires immediate attention. So you need to dry yourself out and get a fire going pretty quick, because although it's hovering around 0, if you get too wet and too cold, hypothermia can become a very real problem. And by the time you realise that you're in that situation, it's quite often too late. But always make sure you have the ability to light a fire with it, know how to light a fire, how to light a fire quickly, and recognise the signs of hypothermia. Basically my rule is if I start shaking and I can't stop myself shaking, you're really in trouble. You've already gone past what I call the nasty bit. So, as soon as you get wet, dry yourself out, like right now. Doesn't matter if you've got to stop, doesn't matter if you're going somewhere. See, where I'm heading is the other side of those trees over there. It kind of goes up and back on itself, and it looks like you could go straight across. Yeah. Always take the proper route if you can. I know there's a good solid bridge up here, and I don't know how much water's in the creek. So this is a prime example of forest you would not camp in. Look at these trees, all big tall trees, a lot of them are rot. You get that lot moving in the middle of the night, you set up your camp, because you've got loads and loads of firewood. You look at all that firewood down there, it looks absolutely marvellous, doesn't it? You think, oh yeah, I'll be safe in there, that's good. Nope, as soon as the wind gets up, you're going to wish you weren't in there. You'll be out of there pretty bloody quick. Yeah, very dangerous place to camp. I have seen people camping in places like that, and I always kind of advise them, you know, maybe find a less tree spot, but they don't listen to you. Well, very few do. Right, I'm going to put this camera away for a bit. Need two hands. That'll do for now. See, this is my philosophy. Just round the corner from the last video is a perfectly good bridge. Now, this is what I was saying to you about snow-covered water. You look at this, and this runs right down through the valley. So you're crossing on the snow. Underneath that is ice. How thick is that ice? You don't know. Could be an inch, could be a foot. Nowhere known. Foot of ice will support you. Inch of ice won't. In actual fact, I can actually see running water down through there. There's a little bit just past that first tree stump on the right hand side there. You can actually see liquid water running through there. So never a good plan to cross this stuff. Never a good plan. So if there's water flowing there, there has to be water flowing that side. Looks like you could walk right across it, but I wouldn't. Now, to all the people that go to Eagle Hill, the turn off for Eagle Hill is literally just up here. So I'll video that up to the corner. This is a perfect example of north slopes and south slopes. I'll show you this. Right, I'm on a north facing slope now. Right. That just there is a south facing slope. Amazing, isn't it? Look at the difference. Well, it's still a good idea to have your winter boots with you. Now this here is the turn off to Eagle Hill. That's my way back. This is the turn off to Eagle Hill. And it's oh, somebody made a little sign over there. There is a sign, yeah, but not much of a sign. There used to be a better sign here than that. I guess that's it now. Yeah. Huh. I wonder where the other sign went. There was one here. Oh, so they've got the blue markers in. Quite often these blue markers have stuff written on. Eagle Ridge is that way. People come up here and they end up going the wrong way. I wonder if I have my marker with me. Let's have a look and see if I do. If I do, I will add a brief note to the blue post. Okay, that's a bit better. I think that's fairly self-evident. I did have my marker on me, so that's good. Somebody kindly put a blue post there, so we might as well label it up. Yeah. There is an old sign over there. But yeah, you can tell there's no cows up here at the moment, because normally there's a gate across here just for the cows and that, because they do graze all this up through here. So Eagle Ridge that way. Now if you start right from the beginning, there is another place a bit further up the road, if you're going to Eagle Ridge, that you can start from rather than the sport area, and it cuts about 5 kilometers off the trip each way. So right, now my way back is this way. It's the only thing with hiking around, it's always a good idea to have a map. I mean, if you get to here, right, now that's fairly obvious that that's the way to Eagle Ridge. Nothing to tell you where that goes. That's actually Deer Ridge, is that way. Yeah, but unfortunately we don't have a big enough sign so that we can actually put that on there. Yeah, that's a shame actually, because if they had a bigger sign, you could have put eagle that way and deer that way. Either way, right. So I'm going to head back this way. These aspen forests are really good. I like them this time of the year. They're actually quite smart. But in the summer when the leaves first come out, to walk up through here and you hear all the leaves in the trees, absolutely fantastic. Right, I've got to head back that way. It's only a few kilometres back, so I'll do some more video on the way back. Right, I've just come that way. A couple of small ones along here. There's several really big ones, which I'm not cutting. These aspens, they're very deceptive. They're really easy to cut. But holy hell is that wood heavy. Absolutely full of moisture. But my way back is this way. That'll do for that one. Just bumped into a second group of people. So they're just heading off up round over the top and through Deer Ridge. And I'm heading up to this next junction. And look, somebody else has been through here. Nice. That's the thing, if everybody cuts a little bit, it's too much for one person to do on their own, way too much. Sometimes I'll clear out bits, like top of Mount Hoffman. Oh, that's been an ongoing project for about 3-4 years. I've been up there cutting out bits every time I go up there. But not sure I want to go up there this year after all that wind we had. But that tends to get pretty well blown around up there. Once the road opens, the road doesn't open till May, so once the road opens I might be a glutton for punishment and head up there. But I think I'll take a couple of people with me, because that's going to be a teamwork job, that one. Yeah, that's not a place you want to be cutting trees on your own. Oh, there's some really big trees up there. Most of them I can't even handle. They're just way too big. Anything bigger than this guy here, nah, that's just dangerous. Leave that for the professionals with the chainsaws. Right, I'm going to go down here, turn right and head back towards the parking lot. Wow, now this is quite the mess. I cut 2 or 3 just up through there, just to clear that bit out. I ain't touching this one, it's too big. It's about a foot across. That stuff's incredibly heavy. Look at the wind. Wind did a number on this area. Holy smokes. Just about every tree is down. There's a few in there. However, all that stuff lands on the ground, lets the light through to the ground, and hey presto, next thing you know you'll have other trees popping up in here, no problem. As soon as the light hits the ground, I see another tree just down here in front of me. I'll have that one out of there. Look at this mess. Well, I say mess, it's not a mess, it's actually good. Good for the forest. All this stuff rots away. The cows will be up in here later in the year once they open this all back up. All these standing trees that you see here all snapped off. Every one of those be a home for good insects and stuff. Yeah. Yes, it rots away very quickly too once it's on the ground. And especially this stuff just turns into sponge. It's absolute garbage firewood. Just turns into sponge. Right. Now this tree here has Dave written on it, however it is a very long tree, so let's have a look, see if anything sprung here. If anything sprung, I'm not going to touch it. No, it looks like that'll come down pretty easy. It's fairly thick, it's about 8 inches across. Looks like it snapped off that one over there. Right, I have to cut this from this side. Can't cut it from the other side. The other side would actually be easy, but that's the downhill side. So right, I shall get on and get this one cut out of here.